Level 1. The Curious Explorer. You're 19 and someone hands you a chocolate bar at a music festival. It doesn't taste like regular chocolate. There's something earthy underneath, something that makes you hesitate for a second before you finish chewing. They tell you it's a gram, maybe a gram and a half. You have no reference for what that means. 20 minutes pass, nothing. You start to think maybe you got a dud, maybe the whole thing is overblown. Then the grass moves. Not like wind is hitting it. It moves with intention, breathing in a rhythm you can suddenly see. The sky isn't just blue anymore. It's layered. Depth you never noticed. Colors that don't have names. Your thoughts arrive differently now. Not in the usual stream where one leads to another. They come in complete packages, full realizations that land whole. You understand something about your relationship with your parents that you've never been able to articulate. It arrives fully formed, obvious, like it was always there and you just needed to rotate your perspective 11 degrees to see it. The come down is gentle. No hangover, no foggy next day. You wake up feeling like something shifted permanently. Some door in your perception that didn't exist before and now does. You can't stop thinking about it. Not obsessively, just persistently. The way you think about a conversation that changed something. Level 2, the weekend psychonaut. You start buying your own. An eighth here, a quarter there. You're not using alone yet. It's always social. Someone's apartment with black lights and a good playlist. A camping trip where you watch the sun rise and cry about beauty in a way that doesn't feel embarrassing because everyone else is crying too. You're learning dosage now. A gram is recreational. 2 grams is therapeutic. 3 grams is where it gets serious. You read forums, Erowid, trip reports. You learn words like set and setting and ego death, and you use them in conversations with people who nod like they know exactly what you mean. The experiences are profound, genuinely. You work through childhood stuff, you see patterns in your behavior, you feel connected to something larger, ancient. You're convinced this is medicine, not metaphorically, actually. The research supports it. Studies on depression, PTSD, end of life anxiety. You send articles to your friends, some of them get it, some don't. You start planning trips the way other people plan vacations. Clearing your weekend, getting the apartment right, preparing the music. You have a journal now specifically for integration. Pages of insights written in handwriting that gets shakier as the peak intensifies. But there's something else starting. Subtle. You're thinking about the next trip before you've fully processed the last one. Level 3. The Solo Explorer. You stop waiting for the right people or the right weekend. You take 2 grams on a Tuesday night alone in your apartment because Tuesday nights alone in your apartment have a heaviness that mushrooms might address. The trip is different without other people. Darker, not bad dark, true dark. The kind that shows you things you've been using conversation and laughter to avoid. You see yourself clearly. The performance you maintain, the ways you manipulate for approval, the small cruelties you pretend aren't intentional. It's devastating. It's also necessary. You cry for an hour, not sad crying, purging. When it ends, you feel lighter. You start tripping alone regularly. Every week, then twice a week. You tell yourself it's therapeutic work, you're healing, growing. Each trip reveals another layer. But you're also developing tolerance. 2 grams becomes 3. 3 becomes 4. The magic is still there, but you have to push harder to reach it. Level 4. The Daily Micro. Someone in a forum mentions microdosing. 0.1 to 0.3 grams. Sub-perceptual. You won't trip, but you'll function better. Creativity, focus, emotional regulation. You try it, they're right. Work is easier. Conversations flow. Colors are slightly brighter, but you're not impaired. You can drive, attend meetings. No one knows. You start doing it every day, just a little. Maintenance, except the sub-perceptual threshold keeps shifting. 0.3 stops working. You go to 0.5, then 0.7. You're not microdosing anymore. You're just dosing. Low-level tripping, while living your regular life. The boundary between baseline consciousness and altered states has blurred so completely you're not sure where one ends. Reality feels negotiable now, not in a psychotic way, in a way where the objective world seems less solid than it did before you started. You're late to things, not because you're impaired, because time feels approximate. Level 5, the realization. You're 21. You haven't gone 3 consecutive days without mushrooms in 7 months. Your savings are gone. Not dramatically, gradually. Mushrooms aren't expensive, but they add up when you're eating an eighth every other day. You barely remember what baseline feels like. A friend asks if you're okay. You say, "You've never been better." You're exploring consciousness. Doing the work, she looks at you the way people look at things they're deciding whether to name. She doesn't name it. You're grateful because if she named it, you'd have to look at what it actually is. And you're not ready. Not yet. Level 6, the emergency room. You take 7 grams because 7 feel significant. Mystical, a number that means something. 30 minutes in, your heart is doing something it shouldn't. Racing, then stopping, then racing again. Your hands are numb. You can't remember how to breathe automatically. You have to manually control each breath, and you're terrified you'll forget. You call an ambulance. The paramedics arrive, and you're trying to explain that you're dying, but also that you've dissolved into the carpet. They've seen this before. They're calm. You're not dying. Your heart is fine. You're having a panic attack compounded by a heroic dose of psilocybin. At the hospital, they give you something to bring you down. Benzos, probably. The trip doesn't stop, but the panic does. You lie in the ER bed, coming down slowly. Fluorescent lights humming above you, and a nurse checks your vitals every 20 minutes without judgment. They don't keep you, no psychiatric hold, just observation until your baseline. 6 hours later, you walk out into a morning that feels aggressively normal. People going to work, traffic, coffee shops. You're holding discharge papers that list adverse reaction to hallucinogenic substance in clinical language that makes the whole thing sound mundane. You don't trip for 2 weeks. Longest break in 8 months. But the break isn't sobriety, it's a pause. You're still thinking about it. The pull is different now. Not curiosity, not healing, just the knowledge that normal consciousness, the one you're sitting in right now, has a specifically shaped discomfort that mushrooms remove. Level 7, the functional addiction. You go back, but carefully this time. Controlled doses. You're strategic. Never more than 3 grams. Never in situations where you can't manage the outcome. You maintain your life. Mostly, you're working part-time, paying rent, texting people back. From the outside, there's nothing catastrophic to point at. But you're spending 70% of your waking life in some degree of altered consciousness. Your baseline has shifted so fundamentally that sober feels like the altered state. The world without mushrooms has a flatness you can't tolerate for long. You've rewired something, not dramatically, gradually, month by month, trip by trip. You've taught your brain that reality is optional. And once you learn that, unlearning it requires something you don't have yet. Level 8, the moment. You're sitting on your bathroom floor at 3 in the morning, not tripping, just existing in the space between trips. Your tolerance is so high that 2 grams barely registers. You'd need 6 to actually go somewhere, and you can't afford 6 until Friday. The thought arrives clean and undeniable. This is not exploration anymore. This is not medicine. This is just what you do now because not doing it feels impossible. You're 22 years old and you've forgotten what your actual personality is underneath the layers of psilocybin-mediated perception. You take out your phone, you search for something you've been avoiding searching for. You find a number, a service. You sit on the bathroom floor for a long time, then you make the call. Not because you're ready, you don't feel ready. But the bathroom floor at 22, Tolerance through the ceiling, personality dissolved, is a specific kind of bottom that produces a clarity the mushrooms have been preventing for months. The phone rings. Someone answers. You say something that isn't quite a sentence. They understand anyway.